It's Monday morning. A little bit tired this morning. Slept in, and I usually don't sleep in. I'm up like 5 o'clock, but this morning I got up later. Actually, too much sleep makes you tired, which is strange. All right, I want to finish this chapter in Spirit, Spirits, and Spirituality. So that's what I'm going to do this morning. Because we only have a couple pages left, so we'll get her done. We're out of the cold snap here in Alberta, which is nice, because it was deep freeze. It went from minus 30 to plus 4 yesterday. Plus 4 from that. That's quite a change. Alberta's like that, though. The climate's like that. It changes like on a heartbeat. You can go from really nice weather to nasty weather in a minute. Pretty crazy. Oh, I like this coffee. Cheers from Canada. So yeah, on the weekend, that was pretty cool. I think it was Saturday night. Seth, me, and Jimmy from Sweden had fellowship. And you can do that. We done a test run. So Facebook Live or Facebook Messenger Live, whatever the heck it was, you join a group. So you can join in to the conversation. And this is how we set it up. So we can do like a 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, whatever, however many brethren want to get together and do it on Facebook Live Messenger. So that's kind of cool. You know, we can talk to each other, share some fellowship. It was great. And like Seth said, you know, when we were fellowshipping, it's crazy because any kind of interference was coming in there. When we talk about the spiritual forces of wickedness and the influence they have on mankind, well, in that fellowship, you could see it. They tried to interfere and tried to intercede, as it were, into our conversation. And we know they're there because we know I don't know, it kind of just interrupts the spiritual fellowship that we have sometimes. You know, we can talk to a brother, we can fellowship with them, and then all of a sudden something interferes from the outside, like say, whatever. If I'm in the garage and I'm doing a show there, and the cat is scratching at the door, or the cat comes out in the garage, or there's stuff outside, you know. Many times you do a show and there's so much outside interference that it kind of interferes with what you're trying to think and you're trying to bring across. So we know that the influence is there. But it was a great fellowship. And I think we need to do more of this. All of us brethren who really like to fellowship, who really want to get together and build each other up, we should get together on this Facebook Messenger. So I suggest it. Anybody out there listening to this show this morning and wants to actually fellowship with another brother, like 2 or 3, it's great. Because it's not just 2 opinions. It's not like a banter back and forth with 2 people. The other person can put in their feedback and you know, thoughts, and it's great because then you get an idea of where we're coming from as brethren and where we are in our walk in the Lord. So I just say, let's do it. So that's it. Okay, so let's finish this up. As the present is preeminently a spiritual administration, and we are designed or destined to reign in the realms of the spiritual forces of wickedness. We are going to replace them up there. This is the whole thing. You know, when we enter in, they will be cast out. We know this during the 7-year tribulation period, they're cast into the earth, right? So they wreak havoc that last 3.5 years for sure. Okay, we may rest assured that Satan is far more opposed to us than to the circumcision apostles. Example there, like when you're fellowshipping and the interference comes. So Satan is more interested in us because he knows we're going to replace him up there among the celestials. Only occasionally do we read of the parts that evil spirits played in the history of Israel. A very small fraction of the accounts of our Lord's life even refer to the spirit world, but a large part of the closing chapter of Ephesians, the chapter of the present grace, is concerned with the phase of our conduct. But we are not spiritists who communicate directly with the spirit world by means of mediums or Ouija boards or table rapping. Indeed, it is not a question of communication but of warfare. And it is not a question of physical force but of spiritual stratagems. Yet it is carried out through blood and flesh, for it is only by means of a physical, soulish members of the human race that the spirits can reach us. Paul warned the saints in Corinth, lest somehow, as the serpent deludes Eve by its craftiness, it should be corrupting their apprehensions also. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 3. The conflicts among the saints often have the appearance of wrestling. Too often they are merely the efforts of the adversary to oppose God's operations. We should look beyond the human instrument to the power behind it, as our Lord did with Peter. Is it not notable that he never called Judas Satan, so far as we know, but rather Peter, his loyal disciple? That's who he called Satan. No doubt it was a great help to the chief apostle in his future service to recall how ready he was to act the part of the adversary. He wanted to help, not to hinder. Let us not imagine that such a sincere intention is a true test. It is through well-meant efforts to be of service that the adversary works. The great apostasy of the end time will be purported to be a Christian crusade, quote unquote, to further his cause. We should be wary and wise to test all as to its concord with God's times and seasons, his plan and purpose. Dissensions and snares beside the teaching were present even in Paul's day. For even then there were some who slaved for their own bowels and sought through compliments and adulation to delude the hearts of the innocent. Romans 16:17 through 20. The apostle does not instruct us to deal with them, but rather to avoid them. Then he gives a real remedy. The God of peace will be crushing Satan under your feet swiftly. He recognizes that much of the misconduct among the saints, especially among the leaders and teachers, is not due merely to their frailty, but to the influence of evil spirits. In that day of illumination, we will not need to contend with any deviation from the teaching. Adulation will be entirely ruled out. This will follow from the change from mortal to immortal bodies. But far more than that, Satan himself, the instigator of human opposition and dissension, will be beneath our feet. Now he dominates the actions of many a saint. But then his place and power will be taken from him, and we will be above him, able to subdue and control the one who next to our flesh was the cause of most of our miseries. Just as the enemies of Christ will figuratively find themselves a footstool for his feet, so will the greatest of all our enemies be placed beneath our power. But best of all, we will not retaliate. We will not use our authority to further alienate and estrange him from God or from ourselves. Satan will eventually be reconciled. We're not there. We're ambassadors of Christ. We are ambassadors of peace. We go to that celestial realm to bring about peace and reconciliation. We're not there to literally bring more evil upon the evil. We are there to do away with it and subject them to God. So we are ambassadors of peace. Doubtless due to Satan's machinations, we cannot now even bring about peace among ourselves. But then all our differences will have been dissolved, and we will be able to bring it to our erstwhile enemy in the spirit world, the adversary himself. We can bring that peace to him. So that is awesome. That's the end of the chapter. And I think this is an awesome book to order. Get it, because then you're able to understand, study from the scriptures, and understand to discern between evil and good. And the purpose of that is to show the contrast, and it's to gain some understanding through it, through the experience of evil. What did God give to us? It is an experience of evil. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says this. It is an experience of evil Elohim gives to the sons of humanity to humble them by it. So the experience is vitally important, and the understanding and discernment between the two is vitally important as well. And that goes along with our fellowship the other night. We have to understand what spirit is operating. We know the Spirit of God because it dwells within us. But that from without, the evil that tries to influence and interrupt, this is the evil that comes from that wicked realm. So humans are not inherently evil. Humans are not. Before Adam and Eve was in the garden and they ate of the fruit, they never knew good and evil. So they were inherently good, not evil. So human beings are not inherently evil. So all the evil in the world and all that is for a purpose. Yes, it is, to show us the contrast. But they are not inherently evil. So why do we fight flesh and blood? It makes no sense. And we don't. We're not to fight flesh and blood. I love you all. Have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Sorry about my hand. I'm trying to shut this off. I'm using this tablet, so I don't understand it very well. But anyway, this tablet works. You know, I'm going to try to get a wireless mic or something so the sound quality comes out better. You know, this audio is not the greatest, and I hope you can hear my show. You know, that's why my voice is a little bit loud. People may wonder why I'm so assertive, but I am a very assertive person. I'm a very assertive person, so I emphasize and I bring it to you that way. Assertiveness is good. Forcefulness is not. And this is not what I'm trying to come across as, is forceful. I just want you to know I'm very assertive when it comes to the scriptures and the truth of God. And if I'm going to bring it about, I'm going to bring it in an assertive manner. And that's exactly what I do. Have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you tomorrow.